Hi, I'm Rachel Kimberly Hastings, an author, an artist, and screenwriter for animation. Welcome to the Storyteller Treehouse. Today I thought I'd give you guys an update on my writing projects, both past and present, with a bit of a silly twist. I'm going to describe them as badly as I can. I've written a lot, like over 1 million words of fiction. And over the years, some of it has been pretty bad. Of course, the best way to improve your writing is to write a lot, which I did. Here's a list of all of my major writing projects, mostly novels and screenplays for feature films, with short log lines that emphasize all the wrong things. So going back in time to the very beginning, the first full-length novel I ever wrote was called The Flyers. Version 1. A rambling 100,000-word seat-of-the-pants epic about 4 teens who learn they can fly, angst about it, and come together to form an army and defeat a warlord who happens to be an angsty talking wolf. Surprisingly, a fork plays an important role. Yes, a fork. Yeah, I wrote this when I was 15, and it shows. 1 year later, I wrote my next novel, The Shadow of Greed. This is a young adult space opera about a self-insert secret agent who's good at literally everything except emotions, who aids a tribe of tall blue aliens with glowing bioluminescent blood who fight with primitive weapons to defeat a greedy military faction who crave their natural resources. Believe it or not, I wrote this years before James Cameron's Avatar ever came out. The Flyers, version 2. I take the same premise as version 1 and put the kids in our modern day world. Several angsty people around the globe discover they can fly and are attacked and shunned for it. They decide to peace out and leave for another world. Yeah, this one makes no sense and I never finished it. Nanooks in pajamas, nanooks in tuxedos, nanooks in trench coats. Okay, here's the deal. It's this Beanie Baby, but there's 2 of them. Both of them are named Nanook. The setup was that I raced my brother to write an identically titled 50,000-word novel in 6 days the first time, 5 days the second time, 4 days the third time. We did this 3 years in a row. As a side note, we actually wrote ourselves into the stories. I was an exasperated and disembodied voice named Author Gal, who was heard only by the title characters. Yes, we did have these printed, of course we did. Between the 2 of us, that's 300,000 words written in 15 days. The Shadow of Rebellion. This is the sequel to The Shadow of Greed, if you weren't keeping up. An angsty teenage secret agent travels to the seedy port of Charisba, to look for her absent father who may or may not be trying to kill her. Angst ensues, of course. Space hippies also try to kill her at some point. And now let's take a detour into some screenplays that I wrote. Back in the day, there was a writing challenge called Script Frenzy, where you had to write a 100-page script in 30 days. And I did it a few times. So first up, we have screenplay number 1, Once Upon an April. The first screenplay I ever wrote was a seat-of-the-pants fantasy adventure introducing a blue-haired amnesiac named Audrey Blue Willow, and a quirky boy sidekick who talked in rhyme. More on them soon. There was a bonus appearance from Author Gal again, and a Wombat, and a rocket scientist based on my brother, and a secret agent known only as Man. Blue Willow. A strangely familiar amnesiac wakes up in a pre-industrial world and decides she ain't from around here because she has naturally blue hair. Also, she doesn't age for some reason. She meets a quirky rhyming boy sidekick, and the rest is a loose retelling of the story of Jonah. Very loose. Fun fact, I wrote this entire book by hand when I was sick for 2 weeks straight with what was probably swine flu. Back to the screenplays. This is screenplay number 2. The Flyers, version 3. Merrily. One angsty steampunk inventor teen and one happy-go-lucky teen each hide the fact that they can fly for some reason. The angsty one falls for the sunshine one when he's sent to capture her, and instead they go on a flying tour of the world all the way to the South Pole. In a dark turn of events, the inventor loses the use of his legs, making him, you guessed it, even angstier. Screenplay number 3, The Twin Confessions of Melody and Harmony. Twin sisters who fight over literally everything, I mean seriously you guys, are forced to work together to make a film for some reason. Greenheart. This is the prequel to Blue Willow. Remember the rhyming kid sidekick? Yep, he's back as the main character of this loose retelling of David and Goliath. Spoiler, the dog dies at the end. Sorry. Silver Sky. In this seat of the pants 200,000 word epic, a whiny bookworm is kidnapped by airship pirates and gradually becomes less whiny as she embraces her destiny as a sky pirate queen. A silver spoon plays a very important role. Seriously, what's with all the silverware in my stories? Twindling, aka The Flyers version 4. Characters from previous iterations of the Flyers all get plonked into a steampunk AU. An angsty teenage inventor falls for the sunshine girl who can fly, but in the process he's injured and loses the use of his legs, making him angstier. I actually shelved this project back in 2020 because it features a global pandemic subplot, and once COVID hit, I couldn't do it. But I've finally decided to revisit it and give it a facelift in 2024, along with a new title, so I've put together my inspiration board again, which you can see here. I'll probably talk more about this book in the near future. Smorlock and Me. I finally made the switch to middle grade. No one was surprised except me. It's one of my best works to date, but in the spirit of describing badly, in a world where Pig Latin is magic, a baker's daughter keeps accidentally blowing stuff up, including the royal wizard's lunch, and then gets sucked into a mysterious plot by the incompetent thug guild and a slightly more competent plot by an angsty villain. The Hotel Girl. A middle grade mystery about a kid who moves into a haunted hotel, probably, where there's a hidden pirate treasure, hopefully, and one of the other residents is a murderer, most definitely. And that brings us all the way up to my most recently completed draft. The Shadow of Greed, the Shadow Codex. Basically, it's novel number 2 all over again, but now it's middle grade. Also, I nixed the tall blue Na'vi aliens. Good riddance. A lot of these projects will live in some form or another. Whether or not that means that I recycle them, as I'm sure you've noticed I tend to do, is yet to be determined. Making that switch from young adult to middle grade fiction opened up a whole bunch of opportunities and ideas for me, so I'm sure there will be more of those in the future. It just goes to show that stories can be recycled as long as the voice is yours. In future videos, you might hear me refer to Smorlock or the Shadow Codex, so hopefully now you have a better idea of what that might be referring to. And I'd love to know, just because I'm curious, which of these ridiculous summaries did you find the most interesting? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time back in the treehouse.